Today we have yet again the Framework Laptop Chromebook Edition here in the office, and instead of talking about how good of a Chromebook this thing is, I want to actually show you, before we do our review down the road and all that stuff, how easy it is to open this thing up and make some adjustments on the inside. But here's the thing, I've not even attempted it yet, so if it's super easy, this is going to work out really well, and if it's not very easy, this isn't going to go so well. So let's see. All right, so let's dive in. One of the cool things about this device is that you only have to remove 5 screws in order to start getting to work. You don't have to pry a bunch of clamps and all that kind of junk. They even provide a tool in the box that's a little hex key. It works for these screws and all the screws on the inside as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and get to doing this. And you know, one thing, I'm pretty sure, yep. So these are anchored screws as well. If you've ever taken screws out of any electronics, you probably, almost guaranteed, you've run into the issue where one of those little guys fell on the table, went rolling, and ended up dropping down into the kitchen floor or hit the carpet or something, and they are really difficult to find once you lose them. So it's nice that they've anchored these so they can't come out of this bottom piece, which is really nice. Because the way this thing comes apart, actually the bottom doesn't come off, the keyboard portion comes off for the work to be done. So we're going to flip this thing over, and I'm going to open it here, and it's going to power on because it's Chromebook. So as soon as I open it up, it'll power on. So as soon as this thing gets shut down, we'll lift this keyboard off of here. But before I do that, I'm going to put on this grounding strip. Nowhere in their paperwork do they say anything about needing one of these. None of their videos where they show you how to do this stuff has you connecting a grounding strip, but it's not a terrible practice. Basically, it's just going to keep you from ruining anything. So, anywho, cool part is here, the top of this is going to come off, and it's magnetically held down and then held down by those screws. So, as soon as you go to just kind of lift on it, find the seam, and right there, we'll go here and lift up. It just kind of lifts out of place there. And I just yanked that right off. Did not mean to do that, but if there's a hoop right here that you can put your finger in and pull this ribbon cable out with, and they've kind of reinforced all these ribbon cables. If you've used them before or messed with ribbon cables, you know they can rip and tear pretty easily. These are all reinforced where they actually connect, so they've made that a little bit nicer for you. And you shouldn't probably pull the thing up and rip the ribbon cable off there, but again, I haven't really messed with this too much. I thought there was a little bit more play from the videos I've looked at. So I'm going to clip this on just to, let's go right in here. There's a good spot right there. Just make sure that I stay grounded. But you can see how nicely laid out the inside of this laptop is. I mean, everything's labeled. There are QR codes on everything, so you can scan this stuff with your phone and get a nice guide. I've kind of looked through some of those guides, just kind of prepare myself for this. But you can see, you know, it'll walk you through, it'll tell you how many steps there are to it and how long it's probably going to take you. And you can go through and figure out how to replace every piece inside this laptop, which is really sweet. So before I do the RAM though, I have been wanting to take off this screen surround, and you can't do that until you pop this thing off, and I haven't popped the thing off yet. So now that I've taken that off, they sent us this sweet orange one, and I really would rather have it in place. So just gonna snap it in, make sure all these magnets align, and again, there's no junk to pop off, nothing that has to be pried apart. They're just magnets, and once they're all lined up, everything sits on there flush, and now I have a orange lid on my laptop. But so the RAM is actually over here. You can see the one stick they have here. These are just like plastic, I don't know, it's like real thick plastic vinyl flaps to cover that up. But as you see, memory, channel 1 there. You can scan this again, and it's going to show you how to do this. But this is a pretty standard RAM situation here. You have the same prongs you've got on every laptop that's been for a long time. So you just drop that in where it lines up, push it into place, and that's it. So the RAM has been added. Again, you could change a battery, you could change a Wi-Fi module, you could change fans, motherboard, you know, your NVMe here. NVMe gets a little bit more difficult. Don't go ripping your drive out and throwing something else in there. You do need to write the disk image. So when the motherboard boots up and doesn't see the disk image on that hard drive, it's not going to like that very much, and so you will have to make concessions for that, get a disk image and all that kind of stuff. So that's not quite as simple as RAM, but it's relatively simple, honestly, and simpler than most things on this particular laptop. So let me get this thing all snapped back together, and here we go. Keyboard back on there. Oh, got it backwards. Make sure. Nope, I've got that twisted. So I'll show you how now. Right up under here, just pop that off. I had it twisted backwards because I'm trying to do this top down here. There we go. And we got that in place. Now the ribbon cable falls into place, and that just magnetically pulls itself right back onto the chassis, which is really cool. I love that. And then we're gonna close this guy up, make sure everything's in place, flip it over and get our screws put back in so that everything is nice and tight and fit together. So yeah, it's interesting to see. I don't think I realized this until doing this just now, that the whole bottom chassis too is kind of pulled into place by magnets, which is a really nice touch. I mean, you don't want a laptop that's completely held together by magnets, but having those with just a few screws, it's a nice combination, and it explains why this laptop feels pretty solid in the hand and yet is really, really simple to open up and work on. So let's flip it over. Everything feels like it's back in place. We got that sweet orange surround now. I love that. Let's turn that screen brightness down a little bit. Let me get logged in first. There you go. So as you can see, everything works the way it's supposed to. I, a novice laptop builder person, I don't work on laptops at all. Adding RAM is about as far as I go with it. I've successfully added RAM to this thing and put it all back together. Everything is still working. You can see the trackpad works as it's supposed to. Keyboard's all good. Let's make sure our backlight works. How about that? Let's see. Yep, backlighting's there. Everything's working. So we're all good. Let me actually, since I've got this up, let me pull a diagnostic and show you, because I think that was, yeah, there's 12 gigs of RAM. Can I zoom this? Oh, it's not touchscreen. I can pinch zoom it though. Right down there, 11.48 gigs of RAM available. It was at 8 gigs. That was a 4 gig stick. So now we got 12 gigs of RAM in this bad boy. And just as easily, I could have put in 8. I could have put in 2 16s, taken out the original and put it back in. It's RAM, so you can just kind of take it out and add more as you see fit. But it's that simple. I've never done this before. Just swapped out the RAM and changed the screen surround on the Framework Laptop Chromebook Edition. And that's the promise of this device. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but it's very nice and so easy to upgrade. And I'm excited to see that it lives up to all the hype. It is really, really simple to work on. But guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, head down there, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring the notification icon as well if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Until next time, we'll see you.